All right, good morning. My name is Miss Hogan. I am the House 100 principal, and back there is our House Secretary, Miss McClellan, in case you need anything.
And I'm the House 200 principal, Miss Coppinger, and back in the back is Miss Jeffries. She is our wonderful secretary. So if you're in House 200 and you need anything, come stop by and see us.
All right, so we wanted to talk to you a little bit with just some fall reminders. The first of which we're going to start off with is the graduate profile. We want you to be effective problem solvers, responsible, engaged citizens, academically prepared for future pursuits, and effective communicators. So everything we're going to talk about today will ensure that you fulfill this graduate profile by the time that you leave us. And so when we talk about that responsible and engaged citizen, a lot of that is talking about making sure that you're following the policies and procedures here at Allen High School. And so remember that when an adult asks you to do something, go ahead and remain calm and just follow directions. If it is something that you feel like is unfair, still remain calm, have a normal conversation. But I also wanted to remind you that when you are assigned to detention, most of our detentions are for tardies or IDs or things like that. When you miss your detention, because you have 4 days to do it, the result is a referral, which then results in a day of ISS, and that detention is reassigned. When you get up to 5 referrals, we will have a student intervention team meeting, which includes myself, or Ms. Coppinger, depending on your house, your counselor, your parents, and you, to try to figure out what the next steps are. Are you headed towards Dillard, or are you headed towards just making sure that you correct that behavior? So we don't want anybody to get in that situation, so the easiest way to do that is to serve your detention. The other thing to remember is that we are still in a pandemic, it is still a real thing, and we have COVID procedures for a reason. It is very, very important that you go through the one-way hallways during passing period, making sure that you're following the crowd, and again, listening to those adults trying to correct you. This is because we don't want a crowded hallway in which students are facing each other, and that is because in case somebody sneezes and their masks fall down, that means that you don't get COVID. And so making sure that you're following all of those one-way hallways and stairwells is very, very important. It's also incredibly important that your mask is worn all the time and over your nose and your mouth. We understand that masks slip and things like that. Just make sure that you fix that right away. This is, again, to prevent the spread of COVID throughout our school. Also, there's hand sanitizer everywhere. Make sure that you are using it. Clean hands and masks are the best prevention for COVID. Also, your fall dress code reminder, making sure that your shirt and your pants touch at all times, making sure there is no gap between your pants and your shirt, regardless of your gender. Make sure that you are following the dress code. If you have questions about the dress code, you can go to the student code of conduct. And again, remember to wear your mask over your nose. And then also fines. These are due on December 18th. You will get Eagle engagement points for making sure that your fines are paid on time. You probably have a fine if you do for temporary IDs, a library fine, a uniform for an extracurricular, etc. All of the payments this year will go through school pay. You can't use cash, but you can go ahead and see Ms. McClellan or Ms. Jeffries if you have questions about what fines you may owe. You will also be getting an email at some point in time this quarter to outline how much you may owe.
Okay, so now let's talk about the academic side. So we have a 9-week recovery. The best thing you can do is make sure that you are being proactive. You are getting your work done when it is assigned by the teacher. Stay on top of your assignments, on top of what's going on in the classroom, and then making sure that you're using that asynchronous time wisely. That's really important when you're in class. Make sure that you're working on the things that you're supposed to be working on so that you don't have to take anything home. Also, you'll have the teacher right there that can answer any of your questions. So just make sure that you're using your time wisely and that you're turning in those assignments when you're supposed to be turning them in. Also, communicate with your teacher. Make sure that you're reaching out to them and asking for help when you need help, asking for clarification, and just keep that line of communication open with what's going on, what you have questions about. And be a self-advocate, okay? So advocate for yourself. Make sure that you're staying on top of your grades and that you're staying on top of the assignments that you have. And so you are the one that is responsible for your grade. And then also we have the 90-10 rule is in effect. So basically just go to class. You need to be in class. You need to be here for attendance purposes. I don't want you not to get credit for a class because you weren't ever in class. So you've got to make sure that you are in that seat 90% of the time in order to get credit. So make sure you are in class. If during quarter one You, for some reason, had some issues, you failed, you didn't do so hot, and now you're like, oh man, I gotta step it up. We have a couple of options for you. One is if you failed a core class or a core LOTE class, you can pay $50 and take an Edgenuity credit recovery course. It will just be over the material that was from that first 9 weeks. You can work through it, and then you'll receive credit for that first 9 weeks. So that's a really great option for any of you that might have failed a core class or a LOTE class. If it is an elective or another class that's not one of those, then there are some teacher-led opportunities. And I encourage you to go meet with your teacher and say, hey, I failed quarter one, and I realize that I've messed up, and now I'm kind of ready to step up. What can I do? What are some things that I can work on to show that I've mastered the skills from quarter one? So there definitely are some options, but again, you need to advocate for yourself. Reach out to your teacher, talk to them, and see what it is that you need to do to help recover that, because we don't want to get to the end of the semester and you not get credit for that class. Each credit is really important as you work through high school. When you get to that senior year, you're going to realize how important it is to make sure that you have all of those credits so that you can walk across that stage at graduation. And don't forget, we have the virtual tutoring center. So this is all posted online, but you can go on and find out when all of these courses offer tutoring sessions. So if you have a privileged period and maybe your teacher doesn't have that time off, we have a ton of other teachers in that same department that can help you. There's always a teacher in whatever class it is that you want tutoring for that will be available. So make sure that you go on here, you look at the schedule, you're attending tutorials, reach out and get that help so that you're not having to go into academic monitoring at the 3-week period, or you're worried about not passing the course. Make sure that you take advantage of these virtual tutorial sessions. So we have teachers available all day long, so please log on and look to see what it is that you need help with. And then also, this also lists out our counselors, so just knowing who your counselor is and staying in contact with them if you are concerned about any academic issues, so that they can help you navigate what that looks like. And this is just a reminder of what it means to be an Eagle. So we are seeing a lot more email communications with teachers now, with everything that we have, all the virtual learning and things like that. So make sure that when you email a teacher that you are being very specific in what you need. You want to make sure that you have your full name in there. You want to make sure that you're telling the teacher exactly what your question is. We've had some emails that come through and says, hey, I'm missing work, what can I do? Okay, well, that teacher has to then go and log on and investigate, okay, who is this? What class period? What is it that they're missing? So you need to be very, very specific when you're sending that email. It should be, hello, Miss Hogan, this is Whitney Coppinger. I noticed that in Skyward, I'm missing this specific assignment, 3.8B, whatever the assignment is. What can I do to make this up? Thank you, and your full name again, Whitney Coppinger. So make sure that you are using proper email etiquette, saying please and thank you. You need to remember that these teachers, that you are not their only student. They have a ton of other students. So the more information that you can give them in an email and the more specific you can be with that information, the easier it is for them to be able to get back to you and get you the information that you need for their class. And then grading turnaround time. This is one thing that, remember, just because you turn in an assignment, don't expect it to get it back immediately. Teachers have a lot of students in their classroom, so typically we give teachers about a week to get something graded. So just have some grace with some of our teachers on that. And again, remember, you are not their only student that they have work that they're grading from. And then for Zoom expectations, you guys are all in-person learners, but if at some point you have to go and you change your election to be at home, just remember what those expectations are on Zoom and make sure that you are being appropriate when you're on a Zoom conference. It's just like the expectations that we have here for you at school. It's going to be the same when you're on that Zoom.
Okay, and looking forward to December, we do have final exams this year, just as normal. You remember you do actually have to be there for the exam. We do have exemptions, but these are for 1 semester courses only, so that's government, economics, personal financial literacy for the fall. We'll have exemptions in the spring as well. Remember, in order to qualify for an exemption, seniors, you have to have a 90 and 3 absences, an 80 or 2 absences, no ISS or OSS. That goes back to making sure that you fulfill all of your detention obligations, and then making sure that you also have 50 Eagle engagement points. The final exam schedule is posted on the website under student information, but it's also up here for you as well, and you will also get a copy of this on your Canvas course. If you do miss your exam, the last day to make it up is January 19th, 2021. Remember, there are no early exams, so make sure that you're working with your teacher if you already know, for whatever reason, you may not be there that week. And so finally, make sure that you signed in order to get your Eagle engagement points. I imagine because you showed up here, you know what these things are. And so at this point in time, I'm going to release you to enjoy your privilege period. Thank you very much.